Since things are going very well, let's see if, in fact, the augmented Solow-Swan model can represent all Kaldor facts. So here's number 5. Capital and labor have captured stable shares of national income. So is that true or not? Well, just before looking at how it evolves over time, let's just show that, in fact, capital and labor are the sole recipient of national income. This is not necessarily easy to show at first, but we're going to see that if we're at the national level and if f has constant returns to scale, then it has to be the fact that all the income goes to either capital or labor. And how do we show that? Well, we are going to show that, in fact, profits also have constant returns to scale. So how do I do that? I kind of forgot. I wish somebody could help me. Oh, I think I remember. So I hope everybody or some people know by now what I have to do, and I want to show that something has certain returns to scale. It's always the same thing. You just multiply the inputs by that by some constant. So let's do that. So these are my national profits, and let's multiply them by some constant a and see what happens. So AK AL tilde R AK W AL tilde. So what do I get? Well, I know that f has constant returns to scale. So again, f of ak al tilde is like af of k l tilde. So let's go ahead and substitute that. And then what do I see? Well, I see that a, in fact, is multiplies every term. So I can just take a and put it in front of the parenthesis, and we see that what we get what we had at the beginning, but within that multiplies it. So in fact, we have that pi of ak al tilde is like a pi of k l tilde. So how do I do that? Well, first of all, in fact, f is a linear function of the inputs, because if I multiply all of them by a, then I multiply f by that constant. And rk is a linear function of k, and w l tilde is a linear function of l tilde. So everything is linear, so it means that if I double everything, then everything is just doubled. Now, how do I know that this means that profits are actually zero? Well, because otherwise I would get contradictions or impossibilities. So just imagine if profits are positive for that representative firm. So if you were the CEO of that firm, what would you do? Well, if my profits are positive and they have constant returns to scale, then it means that if I double all my inputs, so I double k and l, then my profits will double. So what's rational for me to do? Well, to actually employ an infinite amount of labor and rent an infinite amount of capital and have infinite profits. On the other hand, if profits were not positive but negative, then what should I do? Then in fact, I should produce zero. I should just fire everybody and not rent any capital. So, in fact, the only solution that is possible for this economy is zero profits. Hence, what we can write is the following. So we can write that profits pi of KL equals 0. This implies that F of KL equals Y, total production, equals RK plus WL. So this is, in fact, the two main ways we compute the GDP, either by adding up all the value added produced in the economy, or by adding up all the income that factors of production receive. So you may have seen that in earlier macro classes. Now, what does that mean also? Well, it means that in this economy, everything goes to either worker or capital, but nothing goes to other agents, such as, for instance, innovator. There's no way to get a profit by inventing stuff. So that's a funny thing. It means that there's actually, no endogenous innovation. So the only solution for sustained growth would be to have exogenous technological change like we have. So what that means, it simply means that people just feel like inventing things and they come up with new ideas, but they don't have any compensation for it. And if we didn't have this, then what we would need, in fact, is, for instance, F not having constant returns to scale and having some sort of non-competitive market to allow for firms to have some profit margin that they could reinvest in innovation, for instance. Here, that's not the case, but so in more advanced models where actual technological progress is made endogenous, then this is the case. Okay, so now we can go back to what happens to the share of capital and labor. So here's, let me just show what happens. This is going to be quite easy now. So the share of capital, of income that goes to capital. So let's see how it evolves over time. So it would be, for instance, at period t, we would have that it is equal to RKT divided by RKT plus WLT. Now, what can we do with that? Well, we know how this grows. We know how K grows. We know that R is stable, but still for now we haven't described what happens to real wages. But we're going to use some very simple trick. We're going to use the fact that RKT plus WL tilde T is equal to the total output of the economy at time T. So it's equal to RKT divided by YT. And now let's just see what happens if we look at next period. So we can multiply and divide by the growth, rate of growth. Well, 1 plus the rate of growth. So 1 plus, what is the rate of growth? It's G plus N, as we have seen. So divided by 1 plus, I haven't changed anything. So what do I get? Well, this is RK T plus 1 divided by Y T plus 1. And it is also, of course, equal to RK T plus 1 divided by RK T plus 1 plus W L tilde T plus 1. So we see that the share of national income that goes to capital is stable over time. So it's the same at period T and at period T plus 1. And we could do that because we knew that we knew the growth rate of the total income and the total production. And it was the same as the growth rate of capital. And of course, we know by extension the growth rate of the national income that goes to labor. It's 1 minus the national income that goes to capital. Lastly, let's just see quickly what happens to wages on the balanced growth path. So, well, let's start with this share of national income that goes to capital. So we know that this is stable over time. So it is something like 0.3 in the US. So what can we say about wage? Can we say that wage is stable or not? So I let you think for a little bit. How would you do that? Yeah, it's quite, you just have to be observant. So look at what I can do. I can just divide by L tilde T everywhere. And what do I get? I get capital divided by productive labor and capital divided by, well, technology, by augmented labor. So what do I know about this and the balanced growth path? Well, it's simply equal to small k tilde. And so what I can do is actually compute W. So I can just regroup term, and I would find that W equals to about 1 minus 0.3 divided by 0.3 times R k tilde. All right, so now I know everything. I know that real prices, well, the real compensation of factors don't change. And I know that all factors receive a stable share of the national income.